Welcome in to Run the Damn Podcast. I'm Rob Snyder alongside Craig Kolodny. Craig, a glorified post-game show for us. Obviously, if you're listening, it's Monday, at least already. But the game just ended. Patriots and Bills. Patriots defeat the Bills 23-20. Drake May in the second half was
Incredible. 13 of 14, 184 yards.
you had the stats up,
Remarkable.
not me. He was tremendous. Stephon Diggs tremendous. Pat's defense played very well. And they get the big win. And again, a juiced up kicking ball. That field goal is good anyway, but that field goal was good from 74 yards. The dumbest thing in the world is letting them juice the kicking balls. That is not a topic for tonight. The topic is the Patriots winning this game. The topic is Drake May. Craig, you have a big takeaway from this game, which is what?
My biggest takeaway, Rob, and I really had to rack my brain in the few minutes since the game just ended. So I'm a little hyped up on a Sunday night.
All right.
I think this is the Patriots' biggest win since Super Bowl 53 against the Rams, which, keep in mind, February 2019, we're now October of 2025. So the Patriots have only won a handful of games that mattered over the last few years. And this was one where we talked about it last week about this is a measuring stick game. This is a game where let's see how they are. We didn't necessarily need them to win the game as far as like seeing their relevancy. But the more the game went on, you're like, wow, they can actually hang with this team. And you can see that their talent is, they're closing the gap with Buffalo. Did Buffalo play their best game? No. But the Patriots forced them into making some bad decisions. They play the game on their terms for the most part. And I think the biggest thing is that they show that they're here and that they are a team that will compete for a playoff spot. And obviously 2-0 in the division. Obviously, we still assume Buffalo is going to take that, which is fine. But the fact that May was incredible and the defense balled out specifically in the first half, it's you can't put into words as a fan of a team that has struggled over since Tom Brady left how big of a win this really is.
Yeah, 2 in a row, too, by the way, for the first time in 3 years. For me, the big takeaway that's not an individual guy, obviously Drake May, Stephon Diggs kind of take the cake there, but is that they were better tonight. This wasn't fluky. The score, you can look at a field goal game and say, oh, a lot of fluky things happened. Both teams had penalty issues. Both teams turned the ball over. Obviously, the Bills turned over 3 times, but none of it was like, crazy fluky. There was no defensive touchdown. The Pats didn't take advantage of them very well. So it's not like, oh, well, they won, but the Bills kind of gave them a touchdown. I mean, kicked a field goal after Keon Coleman's fumble deep in their own territory. So I think the story is whether you think in the long term the Patriots are a better team than Bills this year, it doesn't matter to me. Today, the Patriots were the better team. And I think that goes a long way this season is that you didn't just play the Bills and beat them in a fluky way. You beat them because you were better.
Yeah, and this was really their first, substantial test of the year. I mean, obviously the Steelers are 3-1, whatever. But for me, Rob, this was clearly a game where it was, let's just see how we stack up here. And again, they showed up, they showed out. To me, May's the story along with Diggs. I think you and I were texting during the game. It's amazing what a number one receiver will do.
Yeah.
How many for the last few years we've seen all these guys masquerading around as number one receivers, and they're really like 3s and 4s. So it's amazing. The other thing with Diggs, and I want to hear your thoughts on him, obviously, his recovery is remarkable from the injury. But I also love the biggest thing that I love in his game. He's always moving. He's never, when May's outside the pocket, he's always moving. He's also catching the ball and going upfield the second he catches it. He's not this guy who's going backwards, going sideways. He understands how to play the position, and it really just it's refreshing to see when we've gone a few years now where it's just every guy's going sideways, going backwards, dropping passes. It's going to help May so much, as we've talked about obviously in previous episodes.
Yeah, he runs his routes full speed every down, and it seems like something that should be easy. But there's a lot of receivers around the league that don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
They're not all out 100% on every route. And the great thing with Diggs is his issues have never been football issues. I mean, he was awesome in Minnesota. He was awesome in Buffalo. Houston, he got hurt, but like he's never not been good. This is not like abnormal for him. Mm-hmm. It's not an aberration. His issues have been off the field, and seemingly those things have been semi-fixed. I think he's a good teammate now, and that's important. If he has some side issues in his personal life, and that's not for the team to worry about at the moment. Maybe they eventually will, but I don't think it's a problem right now.
Mm-hmm.
But he's a good teammate, and he runs his ass off every single time he's out there. And I think it's very clear. Let's hit Drake
Well, can
because
I
I
do
don't
one
want to.
more
Yeah,
thing on Diggs real
sure,
quick,
sure,
just
sure, sure.
to wrap up Diggs?
Yep,
10 catches out of the 22 receptions tonight, or 22 completions.
yeah. And I think it was
104,
12 targets, right?
yep, 12 targets out of the 30. 146 of May's 273 yards. And again, this to me is the offense has changed the last 2 weeks, not just because Diggs has 100 yards in each game. It's that they've put him in the slot and they've removed Douglas from the slot. I think having Diggs in there, he knows how to space things in a zone. He knows how to beat his guy. He can beat a guy in man-to-man coverage. I just think the offense. There's a reason they've scored. They scored 40 against Carolina and 23 in Buffalo tonight, is because Diggs is taking on a much more significant role in the offense.
Yeah, there was only one route I noticed where Douglas and Diggs were on the field at the same time, and it was that little stupid bubble screen to Douglas
Oh
when
yeah,
Diggs was blocking. It wasn't a marquee play in the game. I will say that Diggs. People talk about the May throw. The May throw was great. The Diggs catch on the sideline on that deep out, when he was rolling out, was ridiculous. The route when he decided to turn it back upfield was ridiculous. And I thought his sliding catch when he went down to the ground was also a catch that no one else on the Patriots makes. So
yeah. He knows
he
how to
was
position his
unbelievable.
he knows how to position his body. He knows where he is on the field at all times. He's just aware. It's just there's a talent. He's up here,
Yeah.
and the next guys are down here, and it's very obvious when you watch him play.
As far as May, who was obviously great tonight, so much. I think it was Steve Palazzolo who tweeted at one point, "It's been 2 hours since quarterback threw from the pocket on either side." He was running for his life a lot, but he made some tremendous throws. I actually thought his best throw of the night was not on the run. It was, so you remember the 30-yard Diggs completion where he turned upfield? The
Yep,
play right before that, he threw that 24-yard pass over the middle to Hunter Henry, and
yep.
it looked like he was going to escape to his right, and then he decided not to. He shifted his feet, backed back up into the pocket, and then threw that pass. I thought that was his best throw of the night.
Yeah, that was a big one. The other one, I think, to Booty on the last drive on the game-winning
Yes.
field goal drive. With the zone coverage where Booty got
Yeah.
behind the corner and kind of caught it on the sideline there.
Yeah, you
Again,
gotta fit
another.
it in there, yeah.
Yeah, look, he didn't look overwhelmed. We've talked a lot about how last year he barely had a win, and now he's up to 3 wins this year. Obviously, they're 1 win away, matching their win total from last year. But you're starting to see his growth, and I think the other big thing is you can't discount the McDaniels factor. I think they are putting May in positions, and obviously variables at the head of this too, but they're putting May in a position to make positive plays. I think one of the things that McDaniel's has done, they're putting him in the right spots. He's being able to make the right reads, and I think it's a huge part of his development, and he's developing that confidence that he needs to be able to make those plays, like the one he did to Booty at the end of the game, where it's like, look, we're tied. We're on the road in Buffalo. This is a huge play. And the play before that, when he kind of held off the defender and got it to Diggs, those two passes on that game-winning drive, I think, is because of the confidence that he developed throughout the entire game, where he's like, you know what, I can do this. We can come into Buffalo, beat the NFL MVP, and again, they largely did it because of um, his ability to keep the offense moving and ahead of the chains, and always being able to make the right play when they.
Yeah, they didn't coach like they were afraid that he would turn it over. And I think that's a big part of his development is like, it's not just getting the turnovers out of the game, it's getting them out of the game while still playing quarterback the way he plays quarterback. Josh, we talked about it right before we came on. Josh McDaniels as an offensive coordinator, it's outrageous that his offenses when he was a head coach were so bad.
Right.
And then he's so good at just being an OC. I wonder if like the head coach stuff just got to him. But A plus from McDaniels again in this game. And like they're not really running the ball well, but when they run it, they're like effective enough. Part of it is they spread out the carries a lot. I think May put himself in danger a little too much tonight, running the ball, but that's not really designed. That's just kind of him scrambling.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I think McDaniel's been awesome. A plus game from McDaniels. I would say B ish game from Vrabel. We could talk about that again later. I thought the end of the first half was disgusting, but staying positive here off such a gigantic win. McDaniels has been truly great, and it's not necessarily that they're like running like crazy stuff, but they are scheming guys open with just the scheme that he runs, and it's a huge positive sign, I think.
And I think one of the other big things, Rob, that they talked about in the preseason, it might have been training camp, but they talked about having May, when he escapes the pocket, not just become a runner and being able to make plays with his arm
Did
when
they
he
mention that
escapes
on the
the pocket.
broadcast tonight at all?
Yeah,
Did they
just a little
mention
bit.
that? Was that
Yeah,
mentioned? That he
yeah.
should keep his head up the way Josh Allen keeps his head up? Was that
Oh
mentioned
my
at all?
God, it's it's a yeah, that's a whole all of the broadcasts. Although to be honest, it's better than hearing Chris Myers call the games, and the guys that the Patriots fans have been subject to listening to broadcast these games in recent years and recent weeks. But
Drake
look,
May. It's
yeah,
a touchdown.
yes,
Yeah.
the yeah. Look, I mean, I think it's one of those things where I think McDaniels, you know, you could just you look at compared to last year, and it's easy, and we all love AVP as a person, but Alex Van Pelt, clearly a quarterbacks coach, not a coordinator,
Yep.
and I think it's just having McDaniels back was a big thing. Whether or not Vrabel actually wanted him here or not is a whole other conversation, but it's clearly working. The offense looks better there, and I like that they're just making adjustments, like we talked about with Diggs going in the slot. I think they're prioritizing the receivers. They're getting the ball to their best playmakers, and yeah, I think the only negative for me on the offensive side of the ball is Stevenson. And look,
Yeah.
credit to him for at least getting. I mean, he has hands on the ball like probably 10 more times after he fumbled, if you include the
Held my
kickoffs.
breath every time. Yeah.
How how is he your next man up on the return? Like the guy
Yeah.
fumbles every time he touches the ball. Here, let's go have him return kickoffs.
I think the issue tonight was the amount of active running backs they had, and then Gibson gets hurt, and it looks like
Right,
it's going to be a long-term injury. But Gibson leaves the game, and suddenly they don't have a choice but to put Ramondre back in, which maybe is a confidence booster for him. But the way that kickoff works now, with the way the blocking is there, it's kind of a running back position, the
right,
return game. So
right.
but of course I kicked it right to him. Smart job by the Bills, but
Yeah,
yeah, I held my breath every time they
and
had it
listen,
to him.
credit to Stevenson for, you know, I don't know how the Patriots decided they're going to give him the ball on those last few carries when they're setting up for the field goal,
I
because
know.
it's like, dude, like I've seen this guy fumble like more th- more times than I can, than I want to count.
Yeah.
And it's amazing that they gave him the ball, and look, credit to him, he held on to it, but my God, it's just only a matter of time before he fumbles again.
Yeah. One more thing on the offense. Will Campbell's been awesome.
He has
Yeah. He had
100%.
a really
Glad you
good game.
mentioned him.
That's not easy. With Russo and Epinesa, that's not an easy task either sides, or obviously he's staying on side. They switch sides.
Right.
And Bosa too. So yeah, I thought Will Campbell was really good.
Yeah, and he's getting, obviously, when they drafted him, throughout that whole draft process with his T-Rex arms and whatnot. Like, look, the guy's been great.
Yeah.
He through 5 games, he has. It's amazing. They bring in Vidarian Lowe, last year's left tackle, for one play, and he commits a penalty. It's like
Yeah.
it's just
I
nice to
actually
have that
I thought
position.
the guy next to him moved before he moved, but whatever.
You're a Vidarian Lowe apologist, but
Yeah.
uh, the it's just amazing that what it's like to have a solid left tackle, a solid number one receiver, and a competent quarterback, like
Yeah.
just and a good play caller. Now,
Yep.
now you're 3-2. You have this. You're going to the Saints. You're looking at ideally being 4-2,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
I
you're
mean,
actually talking
you might be
playoffs.
looking at 6-2. Yeah.
Yeah. Who do they have
Um.
after the Saints? I
Oh
forget.
god, it's disgusting. Browns Titans, is that it?
Uh,
Or is there a game in between there? Hold on. I guess people are looking at us for accuracy, so let me make sure it's
no, we
here.
can we can give
Oh
them a
yeah,
good
Saints Titans Browns. Titans Browns.
Saints, Titans, Browns, Falcons, then
And then
Bucks.
at Bucks.
Those
Uh,
4
yeah.
games should be wins. If you play like you did tonight, you should be 7-2 going into Tampa. But
Yeah.
we all know it doesn't work that way. But look,
There'll be a game they
honestly,
don't play well.
I'll take 3-1. Give me 6-3. I'm good.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Um and you know what else is funny but on the tackle thing is this was a bad tackle draft. I think the three best offensive players right now as a rookie class might be Will Campbell, Armand Membu, and Josh Simmons.
Yeah,
So yeah, take that, tackle haters.
tackle haters.
Uh,
What do you want to get
defense
into next? Defense?
defensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
The two fumbles aside, the Marcus Jones pick was the turning point.
Mhm.
Before other turning points, a lot of turning points in this game.
Yeah.
But huge play, and he had another awesome pass breakup down the sideline at one point. Kind of surprised by Marcus Jones. I thought he was more of a gadget guy, like gadget guy either side of the ball. Like put him in
Yeah.
on defense here and there.
Yeah.
He surprised me tonight. Thought he played tremendous.
He's turned into a nice little slot, corner for them. And again, it's easier for him to be a slot corner when Gonzalez and Davis are your top two corners on the outside. It's easier to kind of blend in as opposed to getting picked on. Look, I thought the defense played great. Kincaid had a big game, but other than that, I thought they controlled everybody else. I mean, they made Josh Allen work for everything. Um, Obviously, the first half was incredible, holding them to only 3 points. But look, they held
Yeah,
Buffalo to 20 points at home. Buffalo scored over 30 points in every game. They were averaging 33, so they held them basically 2 touchdowns less than they have on average this season. Milton Williams continues to be a beast.
it's
My
awesome.
God, he's just a stud up there. And you always worry about guys that sign big contracts, and then it's like, oh, I'll just get fat and happy. No, not yet, at least.
Yeah,
Seems like he wants to prove that he was worth that contract. Also, I'm guessing he's pretty happy he signed here instead of Carolina. But I think a lot of the other guys that we've talked about too, Landry played a good game again.
yep,
I thought Spillane has been better the last couple of weeks.
yeah. I was going
Um,
to complain about him, but continue.
yeah, Craig Woodson. Some of the safeties that we talked a lot about the safeties with Peppers getting cut and Duggar taking a back seat, but I think they're starting to find their how it takes time for a team to gel. So the offensive line takes time to gel together. It
Sure.
looks like the defense is starting to round into form here after some struggles early in the year.
Yeah, Christian Gonzalez, by the way, he could have just taken the night. I don't think Josh Allen threw it on one time. I think the only time I saw him
Yeah.
was when they showed him in between plays, which is
Yeah, he
good.
had
I
those
mean, he
couple.
was
He had those
good in
couple
coverage.
plays at
Yeah,
the end, though. The
that's
one on
true.
that third
Yes, yeah,
down
at the very end. Yeah.
that set up the field goal. That was a big one.
Um, I would like. I know football trade deadline is always like not a big deal.
Hmm.
I wouldn't mind if the Pats went out and tried to trade for a linebacker.
Yep.
I'm not like in love with the Spillane Christian Ellis thing. I thought getting Tavai back was a quiet good thing tonight.
Yeah.
I thought he made some plays, and anytime you can get Spillane or Christian Ellis kind of off the field for a play or two, I'm fine with that. The other thing is you have Milton Williams, you have Christian Barmore. They're obviously not going to play 100% of the snaps. No defensive lineman does.
Right.
You rotate these guys in and out, but
Yep.
crucial fourth quarter drives. Let's not have bit part defensive tackles committing back-to-back personal fouls. Let's
Yep.
get Milton Williams and Christian Barmore back in the game at that point.
Yeah, I noticed that as well with who is it with Durden and Farmer
Yeah,
having
yes.
penalties, and then Gibbons having the the defensive pass
Yeah,
interference.
what are we doing there? Who
Yeah,
was Durden, by the way?
I don't
Should I
know.
know that?
No,
Am I
uh,
allowed to co-host a podcast where we talk Patriots and be like, I don't know who that guy is?
well, you still work in sports. I don't, so I can get
I
away with not
mean,
knowing
come
who
on,
Durden is. But what
Durden.
what do you
I've
think his
never.
first name? What should we call him? Brian? What do you think? Should we
Oh, they mentioned on the broadcast, and I was like, I don't know who that
Char-
guy is. No, I already
we'll go with
forget.
Charles Durden?
Be funny if it was
Um,
Craig.
but you know what? It stinks because he actually laid a pretty good hit on Allen, but of course he goes helmet to helmet. But I'm
Yeah,
with you. I'm with you. You gotta have Barmore, Williams, even Tonga, who clogs up that middle. It's always tricky with Allen. We've seen it now for a number of years. Obviously, as the Patriots play him twice a year, it's hard to you got to try to keep him contained in that pocket and not leave lanes for him to escape up the middle. He's just so good with his feet and getting outside the pocket. He's such a tank too to bring down. But
yeah.
I thought you can't really ask for much more than what they did tonight. Very
No,
impressed with the defense. And look, 20 points against Buffalo, 20 points allowed in Buffalo. I'll take it every time.
exactly. Um, can we hit on one negative, or are we still have
Yes.
positives?
No, I think we've hit all of my positives. I
Uh,
I'm ready to talk negative.
End of the first half.
Oh, what an abomination.
I like this like notion that in the league that if you leave any time on a clock, the other team is just going to score is ridiculous. You saw it tonight. The Patriots kicked a few game-winning field goal, and guess what? They kicked off, and the Bills had to run a play, and they didn't tie it.
And they didn't score.
At the end of the first half, Vrabel waiting 10 seconds before he actually takes that timeout to like, oh, well, we want to make sure that after these 2 plays and you get the penalty and it resets the downs and you get the 1-yard line play, you don't get it, and then you're forced with 1 second left to make a decision, and he made the wrong one. You go for it there at the 1-yard line because it's a 1-yard play for a touchdown. They settle for the field goal. I know they won by 3, blah, 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 but I'm sorry.
But
Score
Rob,
the touchdown there. You score the touchdown there, and you're winning by more than 3. So I don't look at that as like, oh well, that decision was the right one because you won by 3. I still think the decision was the wrong one. I still think wasting 10 seconds off the clock was bad. They won. We'll move on. We're not going to crap on them for it, but that, in my opinion, was 2 bad choices down the
well,
stretch in the first
I,
half.
I blame the Chiefs and Bills for this because if the Chiefs had never come back from that 13
I
second thing
know.
in the playoff game, that just changed how it's like Steph Curry, like where you defend 3-pointers, like everything changed because of that.
Yeah.
Um, look, I know you have to manage the game carefully, and I thought overall Vrabel was fine tonight.
Yeah,
I,
he was.
again, big game, again, big. This was again their biggest game in a long time. I think it's just frustrating where like you don't need to count it down to whatever it was, like 18 seconds before you call the timeout there. You could easily do it at 25. I don't I'm with you. You can't always assume they're gonna score. It comes back to bite you because Diggs drew a penalty, and now you only have 4 seconds to try to get a
Yeah.
touchdown, and Henry couldn't catch the pass, and now you're. I just think again, I'm with you. They won the game. Those 3 points were needed. What blah blah blah. But I don't want to see him do that in the future. I want to see
No,
be
no.
aggressive. Like it was fine tonight, whatever, but be aggressive there. I think you need touchdowns to beat Buffalo. They obviously were fortunate enough to win. A lot of game got played out after that play, obviously, but
Yeah.
yeah, we were in agreement as that play happened.
Yeah, it was a little too conservative for my liking. Not even just the kicking the field goal, the letting time go before the timeout. Like, give me a break.
Yeah,
Give me a break. What do the 10 seconds that the Bills get the ball back? You're right about that.
right.
Your defense is playing great too. That's the other thing.
Yeah,
I actually don't have a lot of. I mentioned the personal fouls, the penalties all over the place.
a lot of flags.
That's there. It's kind of been happening across the league. I haven't really seen. There's been too many games with like double-digit penalties on one side or another. Did you have any other negatives that you wanted to point out?
I have one other negative. Like
All right.
what's with the stupid whiteout with the fans? Like, what are we doing? Like, do we all need to like? Why is this a thing? Like, I see it at Celtics playoffs. Get like, why is this such a thing? Who the hell cares? Wear what you want to wear and show up how you want to show up. Why do you need to force this whole whiteout thing and make this lame, like shot? So you see, oh my god, they're in. Oh my goodness, can you believe they did a whiteout, Rob? That's so cool.
Yep, I know.
Get out of
There's
here.
this. Yeah, I
Get
have no
out of here.
explanation for it except
Get
that it's it's organizations thinking that it's cool.
Too many people, too many
That's
cooks in
yeah.
the kitchen on that one. Just let it be.
Well, again, a tremendous win by the Patriots, who, as you mentioned before we came on, currently a playoff team.
Yep.
Now, if the Chiefs win tomorrow, the Chiefs will jump them. But 3-2, you are 2-0 in your division, and you're well on your way to
Yep.
making some waves here with an easy schedule coming up.
Look, Rob, this is one of your toughest games of the year. You went into Buffalo and you won. There's not many games that on paper are going to be harder than going to Buffalo and winning. So, hats off to the Pats. Great win. And, again, a ton of good football, a ton of exciting things happened on Sunday before the Patriots played.
And speaking of the playoff race, because that just dovetails right into our next topic, is the AFC is down, and it continued today. The Chargers, second straight dud, home loss to the Commanders, who haven't been playing the best football. They take an early lead, and then it looked like they were basically like, we've had enough of this game. We're
Hmm.
kind of done with this. So weak effort by the Chargers. They dropped to 3-2. And the other big one, the Ravens. Look, I know I told you last week I'm picking the Texans in this game.
Yep.
I didn't expect it to be 44-10,
No,
but
that's a no show.
either way, the Ravens have had problems on defense all year, and it hasn't really been talked about much. But like Lamar out, they're digging themselves a hole that's going to be really hard to dig out of.
Overall, I think there's a lot of concern here with the Ravens. I think you're gonna have to get to 10 wins, most likely to get into the playoffs. They've now lost to the Bills, they've lost to the Texans. We've talked about their schedule being a little more difficult later on in the year as well. That's a difficult situation, and they might miss the playoffs. I don't think they've missed it with Lamar, right? So
No.
it's going to be interesting. And also, if he's not ready to go and they start to lose a little more, if they just decide, like, look, he's played a lot of football, we can't have him get hurt. We're not going to make the
Yeah.
playoffs anyway. So, I mean, for me, the Ravens were a big one. I also think the Broncos going into Philly, Rob. I know you're a Philly
Yeah.
guy, but being down 17-3 on the road in the fourth quarter and pulling out a win there, um, very impressive. I
Yeah.
want. What are your thoughts on the Broncos Eagles?
Well, I used to love crapping on Sean Payton, but he's done a really, really good job there.
Yeah,
And Vance Joseph has done an awesome job. Their defense is really, really good. The Eagles kind of stepped on their own foot in that game. The refs kind of helped Denver a little bit, although I'm not a ref complainer, so it is what it is. A lot of weird referee things in that game.
yeah,
But you blow a 2 touchdown lead, that's on you. But no, I like Denver. And they should have beaten the Colts early in the season too. Like they're a good 3-2. They're not like a weird 3-2. They're a good 3-2. So um them I like. I think I still like them more than the Chargers. I know early in the season we both had the Chargers out and then they made us look stupid. Now maybe we are
we're
back
smart
on the
again.
right side of that. But like even like Pittsburgh, do I trust? I don't know. Jacksonville, do I trust? I don't know. So
No,
like there's a lot to be had in the AFC. I think they're in
yeah.
a good spot.
There's only there's four teams, and I wrote this down before the Pats beat the Bills. Obviously, the Bills still fall in this category, but there's now four teams in the AFC. There's no undefeateds anymore. Obviously, there's four teams in the AFC with one loss. To me, the Colts are the unique story. We've talked to them about them a few times. You know how many times they've punted in 5 games this year?
It's got so I think it was a 1 in the first 3 games. And now my guess is going to be like 3.
They've punted 7 times in
Oh,
five
wow, okay.
games.
I was
So
very
they
low.
they've punted like so on average a little
The
less than
Rams
two
game was really
times.
competitive last week, that's
Yeah,
right,
they had
yeah.
4 last week. They had 2 today. And
So 7
and
times and 4 were in 1 game.
again, I don't know if there's anything game in January and lose to whatever wild card team comes into their stadium, but it's hard to not be impressed with what they've done. I mean, their only
Yeah.
loss against the Rams in LA. That's pretty impressive.
We'll call that your first shout out because we're
Sure.
trying a new thing tonight. Instead
Yeah.
of just flying through games here, we're gonna do our shout outs where we shout out teams that we like or situations that we like throughout the week, and we'll go back and forth until we feel like we're done.
Yeah,
But my
that was for all of our Indianapolis viewers. Shout out
That's so
Colts.
many of them. We're big Colts people here.
Yes.
So my first one, I wish this game mattered. Shout out Arizona Cardinals for having the funniest loss of the season
Oh, this is good.
in one of the most epic games. Titans 22, Cardinals 21. The Cardinals they were up 21-6 and had a 73-yard touchdown run. And the running back drops the ball at the 1-yard
They
line
look like
and
David
it goes out of
Johnson.
bounds. And then later, they pick off Cam Ward and then immediately fumble the interception and then kick that interception back into the end zone and the Titans recover for a touchdown.
That's awesome.
And they end up blowing a 21-6 lead that way and giving up a game-winning field goal in what has to be one of the most ridiculous and embarrassing losses of all time.
It's so good. So yeah, shout out to is that a shout out for Tennessee or shout out for Arizona?
No,
But
Cardinals, thank you for bringing back football follies. I need that game on VHS.
yeah,
I
we
need to
need
copy that game on VHS.
we need Steve Sabal to give
Ah,
us some
yes.
voiceover for that one.
So
Get some
good.
NFL Films music. Am I even allowed to say that? All right, my other shout out. My second shout out. Do I do I want to go Lions or do I want to go Saints? I think I'm gonna go Lions. We'll get to the
All right.
Saints briefly in a second. I
Yeah.
just think the Lions because they matter more. I think they lost 27-13 to the Packers week 1. Everyone's like, "Oh, they lost Aaron Glenn, they lost Ben Johnson, they're going to fall back to earth." No, they've just destroyed every team they've played since then. So shout out to Detroit. They're 4-1. They're rolling again. They clearly look like one of the top 3 teams in the NFC. So shout out Detroit.
Yeah, I agree. They were clearly that week 1 overreaction team that, we all thought like, oh, here's the downfall, and then it clearly wasn't. I'm
Yeah.
gonna shout out the Bucks. Very entertaining win over the Seahawks today. And the Bucks are now 4-1, and all 4 wins are walk-off field goals. Which is a totally unsustainable way of winning football games, but the Bucks keep doing it. They scored 38 against good defense too. The Bucks
Yeah.
are they're a very feisty team. I think the Seahawks are still a very feisty team, but of course, Sam Darnold, big moment, throws a pick on his game-winning drive, and then it becomes the Bucks' game-winning drive. So tough spot for him, but funny for the Bucks to keep the bit going.
Yeah, and look, we saw with the Vikings last year, they won all those one-score games, and it's eventually it catches up to you. But I'm with you. I think that was a fun game to watch with Tampa, Seattle, throwback uniforms, a lot of offense, a lot of back and forth, good quarterback play for the most part, good receiver play as well. Obviously, but yeah, Darnold throws a pick there, and it obviously costs him. But again, in that game, at least in my opinion, 2 very good teams. Seattle obviously just missed the playoffs last year, barely, but yeah, 2 impressive teams. Before we move on to bottom 5 coaches, should we do the collective shout out for the Saints?
Yeah, there we go.
Getting their first
Shout out
W.
Saints.
Shout out New Orleans. Get your beignets. I think it was, the over 4.5 is now looking a little dicey, although it's still going to
Under
look good
4.5. Under
sorry,
4.5 second
under
dicey.
4.5.
Yeah.
They are the obviously the Patriots go there next week, but yeah, 23 straight points down that game against the Giants. Good for them. Good for what's his name? Who's the coach there?
It's Kellen Moore.
He's not in my bottom 5 somehow. So the spoilers.
He's not in mine anymore either. Yeah.
All right, good. That's why I forgot him.
One extra shout out Mark Sanchez for being arrested post being stabbed. If you haven't seen the details, I'm not going to be the one to read them to you, but you can look that up on your own.
Do that on your own. But my God, that's one of those tweets you're like, is that a real tweet? And yes, it was.
What a fun thing to just like randomly pop up on my phone every once in a while. Yesterday, as I was out with the kids, I'm like, wait a minute, Mark Sanchez got arrested.
Yeah, that story changed. Stabbed. Yeah, that story changed quickly.
Oh, he was stabbed and he was still arrested.
Yeah, it's quite a feat.
All right, you want to hit your bottom 5?
Yes. Do you want me to go through them all and then you go through yours and we'll kind of wrap up there, or do you want to alternate?
No, you go through yours and then I'll go through mine.
Okay. In the shout out category, did not make it, but shout out Bill Belichick. If we did college coach, my goodness, that could be a whole off-season podcast episode. But all right, number 5, Dave Canales. I know you won today, but you looked completely overmatched when I watched you play coach a full football game last week. You're still in my bottom 5 until proven otherwise. Number 4, Zach Taylor. Zach Taylor's making my list. So here's you want to know what's fun about Zach Taylor, Rob?
He stinks.
I've been on this guy for a while. He's like Dave Canales' stepbrother. Zach Taylor. You know the Bengals have been outscored in the last 3 games, 113-37.
They're so bad.
They lost 48-10 to Minnesota, 28-3 to Denver, and then 37-24 today to the Lions. And they obviously got some garbage points at the end there. Yeah. I know you don't have Burrow, but Browning's won games in this league with Taylor as his head coach. You got to be better and at least competitive. So you're in my bottom 5. Number 3, Mike McDaniel. By the time I post this thing, he might be fired. He might be fired by the time I post this episode. But you know what? For right now, at 12:13 in the morning, late Sunday night, early Monday morning, you're number 3. You had a 17-0 lead against Carolina, and you lost. And your only win this year is against the Jets. You're number 3. Number 2. Is it Brian Callahan? Is it Ben Callahan? Whatever his name is.
Brian Callahan, yep.
I know you won today, but you needed, as you talked about, the greatest miracle of all time to get that. You have a negative 68-point differential. You're number 2. Thank you, number 2. Number 1, Aaron Glenn. Even Kellen Moore has a win. Aaron Glenn came to the podium when he was introduced as the Jets head coach and being like, oh, we're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to be tough, blah, blah, blah. They're getting destroyed
They
every
suck.
single week. They are a
They
really
suck.
bad football team. The AFC East, the bottom two teams in that division are trash. Bottom five. Let's hear yours.
All right, so number 5, I have Brian Callahan. Again, even though you won today, his post game locker room speech was like, he was basically like, "We needed that today. We needed
Uh,
the opposing running back to drop the ball at the 1 yard line on his way into a score, and then we needed the guy who intercepted our pass to fumble and then
yeah.
kick it into the end zone for us to score a touchdown on."
And we needed the
They
kicker to almost miss the kick. The kicker barely made the
yeah,
field goal to win it.
they might be worse today than they were before today's game, even though they won. Number 4, I have Aaron Glenn. The only reason I don't have him higher is because I hadn't had him on my list yet, so I didn't want to like just jump him all the way up there.
Yeah, I had no problem.
Uh,
I had no problem doing that.
I was giving him like the benefit of the doubt because he was with the Jets, but then I'm like, no, no, he might be terrible. So, I got Aaron Glenn there. 3. So I told you I don't have Kellen Moore either, on my list.
Yeah.
I have Brian Daboll on my list.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
You can't lose to the Saints. You can't beat the Chargers and then lose to the Saints. And they had a lead too. Like it wasn't like it's like stuff happened early and they couldn't dig out of the hole. Which they
Right.
had a lead.
Yeah.
I know it's Jackson Dart. I don't care. It's the Saints, and you lost by double digits.
Yep.
So Brian Dable, you're on my list. 2 is Mike McDaniel, who I can't believe he's gonna. He also wears capris. Don't trust a coach in capris.
Yeah. His shtick is worn. It's
But
over.
I cannot believe they blew that game to the Panthers. That's basically like you had one job today to not get fired, and you didn't
Yep.
accomplish it. So I think you should be. And for the bit, because we talked about it before, I have Bill Belichick number 1.
Nice.
I looked this up today. And he has like, Mike Lombardi with Bozo, like he has a lot of bozos on his staff.
Yeah, of course.
Freddie Kitchens is like maybe the biggest non-bozo on his staff, like a real
Yep.
offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Do you know of all the teams in Division 1 college football, UNC is the 4th worst offense in the entire country?
Like so. Again, I know we could do Belichick another time, but let's take a minute here. Like, how does this end for him? Like, does he?
I think he gets fired after this year.
Yep.
And he goes back to like 33rd team or something.
Yep.
I think he might have ruined not all, but some of his on-air opportunities because I think his credibility is kind of shot. And I think his legacy is a little bit knocked around. So I don't, now they're not going to not put him on TV because his legacy, but I do think his credibility warrants maybe network second guessing whether to put him back on.
Do you think he ever coaches again in any capacity,
No,
at
no.
any level,
I
even as a
mean,
coordinator? Would he ever coordinate, or do you think
I don't
he's
think he would.
just?
No, I think his ego is too big. I think he has
Yep.
too big of an ego to coordinate.
Yep.
And I mean, clearly another college program wouldn't hire him. And I think
No.
an NFL team already had, like, what did Bill Belichick do since not getting hired as an NFL head coach to warrant getting hired as head coach? I went to UNC and I failed. Is not a reason to be hired again. And also, like, once again, he's proving that the cronies that he pulls along with him aren't good either. And
Don't carry their weight,
there's
right?
not a single sign that he would ever do anything without that group.
Right, and it's just amazing how much and obviously we've lived it for a long time, the whole Brady Belichick debate. But everyone likes to bring up what Belichick did before he had Brady, like his Browns years and his couple years of the past before Brady, or his full year before before Brady came in.
Yeah.
It's amazing what has happened post Brady leaving. So Brady leaves, wins a Super Bowl in his first year in Tampa, goes on to lead the league in passing yards, play a couple more years, whatever. Belichick makes it to just one more playoff game, gets blown out by 30 points, and then fizzles out, peters out in his last couple of years, then doesn't get a coaching offer in the NFL after he gets fired. The guy who has 6 Super Bowls, not one team wanted him. However many 7, 8 openings, whatever there was, nobody wanted him. It's absolutely incredible how much this has separated that debate. And clearly, it's always going to be both of them. The correct answer is that they needed each other. But it's
Yeah.
just crazy how Belichick has destroyed a lot of what he's done with his, not only obviously his off the field lifestyle with his, with his new girlfriend or whatever,
Yeah.
but also just not being able to land an NFL job, going to college, screwing that up. And it like, he's 73 or whatever. Like, how long is he going to do this? Even
I
if
know.
even if North Carolina was like, we're going to keep you for another year, which I don't think they will.
No, I don't think. I
Just
think they'll fire him too. Yeah.
it's
And
it's not
to add insult to injury, like just even at the smallest insult,
yep.
is look at the way Mac Jones has played.
Right.
It's just like another thing on top of little cherry on top of the cake is like, oh, by the way, the quarterback that you had that you know that it didn't work out and he got blamed for it. Now he's in San Francisco and he's 3-0 with over 900 passing yards. That is another topic for another day, by the way. What the
Yes.
hell do the Niners do? Because they just gave Brock Purdy 53 million a year. He's
Yep.
90 million dead cap next year. He's This is why I'm not against paying quarterbacks, but you cannot overpay quarterbacks because of the market when they're not good enough to be paid at that market.
When they're clearly a product of the system that they're in. Like,
Yeah.
if you have a special talent like a Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Mahomes, whatever, but you can't do it to like a Sam Darnold type, or like somebody like a Brock Purdy. That clearly is, as we've seen with all the other quarterbacks that play for Kyle Shanahan, they all play well because the system is good.
Yeah.
It's yeah, but good for Mac. It's
Oh
fun.
yeah. Yeah.
It's fun to watch him play and see what happens, and just kind of, again, nobody around here is wishing to have him back. Let's be clear about that. But nice to see him get a second, lease on his NFL life.
Yeah. And that topic that I didn't want to happen is already happening. Is Kyle Shanahan gets his guy back? Oh, that's the if he wanted him, he would draft it. If you were the inventor of Facebook, you'd have invented Facebook, Kyle Shanahan. All right. Do you have anything else on your docket before we say goodbye at this 12:21 a.m.?
Not that I wish for more primetime games like this because it is late. It was fun to do one right after the game as opposed to recording it hours after the game ends. So it was fun,
Yeah,
and
I
it's
had
fun
some
when
memories
they have
from
a
the
big
game.
win. Yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah,
like, wait a minute, that happened.
yeah,
Yeah, no, this is great. Again, huge win for the Patriots. And now let's see them build off of it. Don't get complacent. Let's make sure you bring your best game to New Orleans next week, and let's not give the Saints a reason to think they can beat you.
yeah. And so they'll be going for 3 in a row next week. Something they did do the last time they won back-to-back games. They actually won back-to-back-to-back games. So no milestone next week, but we'll have to wait and see if they win 4 in a row so we can look back at the last time that happened.
Yep.
So that'll do it for us. A little prime time post game edition of Run the Damn Podcast. I'm Rob Snyder. He's Craig Kolodny. And of course, we will see you next week.